Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third fabulous interview. Today, we are so happy to have Jaycee Gaspar with us. Welcome, Jaycee.
Hi, good to see you again, Bridget. Good to see
Good to
everyone
see
too
you.
over on the chat. So,
Yes. Now, is how exciting is it to come back? Because you've been with us before at a retreat. How exciting is it to come back?
yeah, I hear Secret Garden the first time was a huge hit. So, and it's so good to be back. I love Altenew makes some of the best florals. So it's always good to teach and share the love of flowers and the love of crafting together with a lot of great guest artists as well. Jennifer McGuire, Dawn, Kelly. Who else do we have? Laura and Carissa, yeah, just
Yes.
great lineup. I don't know what I'm doing here, but yeah, it's just it's good to see everybody back.
I was standing by, but you did it. You had all six. You did it.
Yeah,
You got
yeah,
everybody.
yeah, yeah. Big fans of all of them, of course. But yeah, it's good to see everyone.
And it is. We card makers see the world different. When JC first came on this morning, I told him, I'm like, I want to make your shirt into a card. So we see things differently. So it's nice to be around other crafters and card makers who understand that sentiment because, not everybody would. And yes, we have the amazing Keisha behind the badge here with us today. And if you don't know what Secret Garden is, Secret Garden is on May 4th, and it will be a 12-hour retreat with six amazing instructors that JC just named. Wonderfully, he got everybody. And they have 90-minute classes with a half an hour break in between. There's a lunch break built in, so you have a little extra time to grab a bite, kiss the spouse, pet the dog, and have a little break. And then we come right back to crafting. So 12 hours of crafting fun with six amazing instructors. You get to keep the videos forever. You can go back 30 years from now and watch JC's class, and you'll have the beautiful PDF and his wonderful instruction. But there's something about it being live, isn't there, JC?
Yeah, I always like the interaction between everybody. Um, and it's good to see, like we teach different things, but everybody takes a different take on what we're doing with the PDF or what we're doing with all the class supplies. And it's so fun to see the concept turn into people's personal styles. Um, and yeah, and as people show up who are frequent to these retreats, it's just so good to see everybody again. Yeah, because we interact with all the students during the live sessions. Of course, we have our lovely facilitators, but yeah, it's just good to hear live feedback as we're crafting. It helps me create better content, and it's just fun to make good cards together. So yeah.
And it's different because, like on YouTube, you get to see JC create beautiful cards. Not in 6 minutes. As we've talked about before, there's a lot of
No.
editing that goes on, but you just get to see him create. You don't get to ask questions, why did you put the sentiment there and not over here? Or what made you choose this color combo? And that's the great thing is that on this day, you actually get to ask JC questions about why did you put the sentiment there, and he can explain the reasoning, which will help you make better projects in turn, because we always need the more information we have, the better off we are. Information is always good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so Bridget and I just came from Elements of Floral Composition live this previous Saturday. So everything is still fresh, right? It is because you're right. It's very rare that I get to fully talk through the full process of making a card. Because yes, I have to condense everything down into 6 to 12 minute videos, and I leave out a lot of the secrets, right? To the compositions and to what I'm making. So yeah, anytime you have the opportunity, like, ooh, that's instant. Let me ask. We'll try our best to get to you. Most of the time we do. We always do. Bridget's always good at
Yeah.
watching the live chat. I take a peek as well. Because yeah, it's good to know. It's good to know people's perspectives. I'm very methodical. So of course I like to share that with everyone. So
And so what is your favorite thing about doing these retreats?
yeah, definitely the interaction. Not everybody turns their cameras on, and that's okay. But of course, it's good to see what people have behind them as they
Yes.
craft. It's like, oh, it's just these really subtle nuances, like, oh, that's how you organize that, or wow, look at all your inks, like, what kind of die cutting machine do you have? And yeah, it's just fun to see other people's crafty spaces because I mean I have yet to meet anybody or see anybody else's studios in person.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's always just so fun to see what's behind you.
It is, and we have, Amy Rasavi with us here today, and she
Mhm.
has a beautiful rainbow behind her, and I'm always like, anytime she has it behind her, like, I don't pay attention because I see the rainbow, and I'm like, "Oh, rainbow," you know? So, but it is, we do like to peek and like, "Oh, what do they have? What's back there?" So
Mhm.
we're very, very curious, shall I say.
Yeah. And organization always changes, it seems. You know, Altenew has their zipper pouches, which I've been using for cardstocks, and I've seen other people do that in their background, like in their space behind them as well. So it's good to know I'm not alone, that it's like, oh yeah, I definitely use those for cardstocks. Um, but yeah, of course, and then it's always fun to interact with everybody. Again,
Yes.
I can't say that enough.
It is. It's I was talking with Carissa yesterday and I try to explain the vibe to folks that haven't been to one,
Mhm.
and it feels almost impossible to accurately and effectively describe the vibe of one of those days. It's just you're with like 400 other people doing the same thing at the same time and bonding just over that. Even if folks aren't crafting, because some folks like to just watch, take it in and craft later, which is awesome. But it's just there's a special bond you have that day, being at that retreat together. It's hard to describe.
Yeah, I agree, and, you know, I see all kinds of different people. I've seen a few guys just like me pop in, for other classes I've taught, on Altenew Academy for the live sessions, and, yeah, if some people are from different countries who have stayed up or who are up early to join us, so it's always so rewarding to see everybody and every kind of Altenew crafter.
And that's the other thing. So what would you say to somebody that is maybe a beginner crafter and they're like, I can't, this is too advanced for me. I can't do this. Look at the lineup, the names, they're all big names. I'm really nervous. I don't know if I can keep up. What would you say to somebody like that at home?
I always say jump in, you know, do things scared. And really at the end of, you know, the 12-hour day, you're gonna walk away with something. Whether it's just the product, sorry, I have the products next to me, but whether it's the retreat kit, and the beautiful lineup of inks that we have, I'm sure you're gonna get something out of this retreat. Um, and even just it's so fun to see, you know, Jennifer and anybody else uh in the retreat lineup, like all the teachers. Sorry, I couldn't figure the word. But yeah, it's good. It's just good to see the teachers too, and just interact with us. You get this rare moment to like have one-on-one time with us.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, the retreat kit lasts, you know, forever. So you can always come back to this class once you learn other concepts if you're a beginner, um, and you can experiment with them on your own. You won't walk out empty-handed with this retreat. So yeah.
No, and if you just come and watch, if you're a beginner and you just wanna watch and kinda get the vibe of the day, that's cool too, because you get the videos. So that following week or the following month, following year, you can go back and you can create the projects at your own pace. And the instructors will give homework if they feel there's an area that can save some time in class as well. I've also recommended to folks, like, if, for example, if JC was using an embossing folder, but he didn't list it as homework, just do it. It saves you, it catches you up a little bit. If maybe you were a little longer on ink blending or stamping, you can save some time. And if you read through the instructions, I can't remember who was laughing about reading instructions, but somebody was. If you read through the instructions, you can usually find ways you can save some time because you know how you craft best. Whether you're now, JC, you're a slow crafter, I
Oh,
believe, correct?
very much so, very much so, yes. I like, detailed,
Yeah,
so, but yeah, you get the PDFs. So,
yeah,
and I think all of 6 of us suggest things that you should probably prepare,
yeah.
whether it is just running the embossing folder through your embossing machine with the supplied cardstock or die cutting anything. There isn't too much to die cut in this kit. If you look at the listing, right, on the Altenew website, it lists the layering flower sets. And if you want to cut those ahead of time, you know, please do so that you are prepared for class. And if you're not, you know, and you want to take it at your own pace, there's certainly no shame of that. Like Bridget said, there are many of opportunities for you to revisit all of our lessons.
And And that's the good thing too, is if you look on the Altenew website, you can see a photo of everything that's in the kit, which, oh my gosh.
It's a
And you can also see a listing of everything that you get as part of this day. There's also a Facebook group where we unbox the kit together, just kind of, to have fun together and kind of bond some more. They also, I do demo days with stuff from the kit so that when you're in class with the instructor, you kind of know how it works. So it helps you keep up pace a little bit better. And we have an educator that usually helps you go through the homework and get the homework prepared. So lots of opportunities as well. If you're newer and you're worried about this, lots of opportunities to help you kind of stay on task if you want to do all of the projects that day. So we try to help as much as possible to make everybody as comfortable for this day. So it's relaxing. We want a very relaxed vibe for the day of the event.
Yeah, definitely no judgment. All skill sets are welcome. You don't have to be advanced. And of course, if it's a matter of budget, I have my discount code, which I think Keisha listed.
Yeah.
All of us have our discount codes. It gets you, I think, an extra 100 off of the kits and the class bundle. So yeah, if it's a matter of cost, that we also want to help you out there. But as far as skill goes, if it's about judgment, there's none of that. It's all fun. It's so fun. Every year it's fun.
And it's great too because you do get to ask the instructor, say you're new to embossing powders and you have a question. You've seen Jaycee use embossing powder and you'd like to know, Jaycee, do you have any tips on embossing powders? You can ask those questions during the day as well. So it's
Yes.
not just a matter of you can only ask questions about what Jaycee's doing at that exact moment. You can ask other questions. And like Jaycee mentioned, it lets you get to know the crafters as well a little bit better than seeing just their hands in the YouTube videos. You can
Mhm.
ask, Jaycee if he likes, I always use this example, avocados, but if that's a question that's burning in your mind, you can ask that question on that day. So you can get to know the instructors as well. Now we're coming off the March Mindfulness. We just finished that up about almost 2 weeks ago now, and we're going into Secret Garden. And you actually garden, so that's why I'm kind of tying it a little bit because it's a nice mindful activity, gardening. So how does it feel to go in your garden and get inspiration for your cards?
Well, one of the first things that I always get from the garden is my color palettes. I use them quite a lot, and if you're on my personal blog, I do try to list them if I remember. But yeah, it's so good to see everything back in bloom. I've only had this house for maybe about 4 years now, but my garden was only new as of last year. And yeah, it for me, I don't know why. It's my little joy aside from card making. It's that thing that like keeps me living, keeps me going. So just a light little stroll and seeing everything come up. Irises are starting to come up for me in my zone. I'm in Denver, so and if you're in Denver, we're supposed to get snow any moment, like tonight. They said about six. Anyway, they said it's supposed to be about a foot, but I don't know.
Whoa!
My tulips, right? My tulips and my irises have started to come up already. Um, but yeah, it's just like things that it's life, and it's just fun to see, oh, it's resilient. It'll come back, maybe not this year, but next year. But I find it
Yeah.
therapeutic. And I use everything from my garden in my cards. So
The one thing that surprised me about Colorado when I went there is it snowed. My son's like, "It'll be gone tomorrow." And I'm like, "No," because in Maine, it doesn't go tomorrow. And
no, no.
it was. I mean, probably not a foot. Probably not a foot. But you guys get rid of snow quickly there, which must be nice.
I read something on Instagram, and all the years I've lived here, it was like, if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes.
Yeah,
And I was like, I guess that is very true. The snow, like, while it's devastating in some cases, it does go away. Um, so yeah. Or you just go to a different part of the state and it's like a completely
yeah,
different weather pattern.
exactly. Now, what's your favorite thing to grow? What is your favorite? Well, actually, I guess two parts. Maybe it's the same. What's your favorite thing to grow, and what's your favorite flower?
My favorite thing to grow are definitely roses. But then I guess if I want to be more specific about what kind of flower, I've last year I was able to put in the David Austin roses, and the fragrance is I don't know, I don't know how to describe it. It's spectacular. Um, I live on a corner, so like I can like behind my fence, I could smell all of the flower just like 3 stems from this single bush, like several feet from my property or from where they are. And I was just I'm blown away. If if I had to pick a single rose, it has to be fragrant. Um, and I mean that's really it. I just love fragrant roses and hopefully they last in my zone. But um yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I keep thinking, oh, this is my favorite rose. This is my favorite rose. But last year I had a Coco Loco is what it was called, and it's sort of this tannish, pinkish. If I let me grab the Altenew color.
Okay.
It was like a mix between like the dusty rose and pink sand. Um,
Ooh.
yeah, Coco Loco. If y'all have an opportunity to Google it after the stream, like it's gorgeous and it smells. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, that was last year's favorite. 2023 favorite was Coco Loco. We'll see what 2024 has once they
I
start to come up.
I love the name, so I'm gonna have to Google that because now I want that to be my favorite flower because I love the name. And the color combination's gorgeous. So I somebody asked me that question and it took me a hot minute because I'm like, I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, I have cats as well, so I don't have many live flowers here because they're curious and that
Yes.
means vet bills. So I think a peony though, because I whenever I grab for a stamp set, it usually is or has a peony in it. So I guess by deduction reasoning, it's a peony.
Mhm. I love peonies too, but, they last only that one flush, and then you don't
Yeah.
see them for the rest of the season, which is why I guess I like roses because I get to enjoy them from the second they start budding all the way until, like, our maybe until they die off in our zone, you know? So, but yeah, I whenever the peonies do come up in my garden, I have 2 right now. I can't remember what they were called, but yeah, every time I'm just like, "Oh, they're there. There you are." And then, you last for a week and I'm like, "Oh, okay, good night. I'll see you next year." But every time, yeah, they're stunning. And they're so all the Altenew peony ones, I'm just like, "Ugh, gorgeous. I love these." Yeah. It's so hard to decide. I don't know, Bridget.
It's that's a trick question. I mean, it really do you have a stamped floral that you reach for more often than not? Is it a rose still that you reach for a lot?
I I lean toward lilies, when I'm doing, like, any of the free when I'm not doing design work, basically. I like the
Yeah.
lilies a lot more. I think they're much I get to do that feathery stroke sort of coloring with the petals on that one. Um, we did the bulb bouquet for bulb bouquet? Is that what it was called, Bridget? For elemental
Yes.
floral?
Yes, for
Okay.
elements.
Um
Yes. Yes.
Perfect one for lilies. If I had to pick a favorite rose stamp set from Altenew, it would be Ethereal Roses. The layering set of, stamps, just gorgeous. It reminds me of, right, the old vintage flowers, vintage roses stamp sets from way, way back. Because we're at 10 years now, right, for Altenew?
Ah, next month. Yes, next month.
It's crazy.
Unbelievable.
That is
It
crazy.
is. That ethereal
So
roses too, the second I saw it, I was heart stolen. Like that
mhm.
set is just it's so beautiful. And as somebody that struggled to line up vintage roses, this one was so easy to line up. I
Mhm.
was so excited.
And it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous,
Yeah.
like, whatever color combinations you pick. They look real, yeah, it just reminds me totally of being in the garden in the spring and summer. Um, do you have a favorite peony one? I love billowing peonies, the huge 8 by 10 one.
That one is gorgeous. The other one is another biggie. It's the gracious peony, the 6 by 8, but the peony is just huge and
Mhm.
it's just so beautiful, especially once you add the stencils. It's just, oh, so, so pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but somebody asked me that and I'm like, I don't know. I like roses. Of course, I think everybody generally likes roses. It's a common flower. I think you see it more frequently, but that is a very, very tough question. Oh, Keisha said she has a black thumb like Amy. I do too. I buy pre-grown flowers and put them in. She doesn't have any luck in growing a garden, but she says she loves seeing a garden bursting with flowers. And lots of people want to see your garden, JC. So this summer you'll have to post lots of photos of your garden because everybody is dying to see how beautiful your garden is.
Oh yeah, I'm most active on Instagram. I do anytime like I take my morning walk with around my garden, very small, but still.
Yes.
Anytime I take my morning walk around the garden, I do try to capture photos in various stages. So yeah, find me on Instagram. I definitely post what's coming up, what's out of season for that time. But yeah.
Now, do you sketch your flowers as well, or do you just find inspiration from them?
I mostly find inspiration from them, whether that was for the elements of floral composition class for finding real looking blooms or just for finding simple color palettes. Um, Again, I'm just gonna like name drop all of my flowers on here, but distant drums is another one for great variation in colors, which is why I like to use it for class and for all of my cards. Because it's not just your typical, I think people think like red roses, and that's really all there is, but there's so many different kinds, so many different color palettes to suit any recipient. And with Altenew's lineup of inks, right, there's just so many ways to color them. But
Now, what do you do when you get a kit like this? There are beautiful florals in this kit. Do you start with the design or do you start pulling from real life, like your garden for color palettes, or how do you attack it?
hmm. Let's see. I guess if I were to break it down into 3 steps, right? Because I'm teaching, I try to think of what is the objective I want to give to you all? What do I want you to take away from this class? So I try to think of that first once I have the physical product and try to develop a lesson plan. And then after that, then I'll think of design from that lesson plan, if it's something about composition, if it's something about color. And then from that point, right, then I'll move on to color and more of that fine detail work and picking tools and such to make this happen. But really, those are my 3 steps to creating a class like this. Um, and then if I can, like if I am thinking of color, then I'll go to my garden. Oh, like this rudbeckia, this salvia, like this works well with this stamp set in real life. So let me see how I compare these two together. For instance, that's just one example of using the garden. So yeah.
And do you like to create new color palettes each time, or do you have some that are really kind of your standbys that you like to go to more frequently?
Yeah, I do find comfort in like either really muted or really like jewel tones. Like I'm just gonna show you like the rhodolite in the kit,
Oh, mm.
just stunning. And what's the other one? Teal Tempest, right? Teal Tempest. Just these 2 jewel tones alone in this in the kit, I'm really a fan of. I think this one is already in the crisp dye ink
It
sets.
is, yes. Yeah.
But it's nice to have the fresh dye ink version. So, of course, stunning formula. Um, but yeah, and I don't know. I try to be better at picking colors. And when kits come like this, it does force me to really take a look at my lineup of inks and how to intermingle them. Um, I guess since we're live, I'll show you. Can I show like I made a swatch real quick of these.
Yes, love
Okay.
that.
Um, I this stamp set, I should have looked yesterday. It's sold out, but it's the Sunflower Daisy layering dice or layering stamp set. And because I was shocked. I was like, oh, this is what they look like all together. So just imagine this with like your flower bed layering stencil, layering these inks on your die cut floral petals with the die set that is incorporated into this class. So I'm really shocked that like all of these colors, that's what it looks like when they're on top of each other. Because there's no like green, right? But somehow Lemonade Stand and Blue Horizon make this
Yeah,
stunning, stunning green. And then with Lemonade Stand underneath, it's just that bright highlight, Teal Tempest as the shadow. It worked so well together. I was really surprised. So yeah,
it's
that's what
gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And I think
yeah.
people are gonna be grabbing at their layering stamp sets today after seeing that, putting some colors together.
Yeah,
And you
Ethereal
can
Roses is another one to try,
yes.
but yeah.
And if you want to, you could look at the Altenew website if you want to play like JC is playing and look at similar colors to the ones that are coming in your kit once the kits start shipping. So you could look at similar colors in our lineup and kind of play with those together, as JC was talking about. So the lemonade stand is already a fresh dye ink, but the rhodolite, again, JC mentioned, is coming over as a fresh dye ink. So we're welcoming over, which is very, very exciting. And then the other four, never been seen before.
That's
So
right.
they're brand new. We need to have a welcoming party to the Altenew lineup because it's always exciting to get new ink colors. And these work beautifully with last year's inks. They look so beautiful next to last year's as well from the Secret Garden. So
Oh yeah,
they're beautiful together.
that's right. And
So
hopefully we
pretty.
get the labels for these too. But yeah, here's
Yes,
this
the
was
little rounds. Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I
Absolutely.
imagine your space is very organized, JC, because you're a methodical crafter. So I imagine the methodical applies to the organization of the items as well.
You know, I since I do have like full-time work in a laboratory, I do think of things like ergonomics sometimes. I do try to
Yeah.
keep everything that's immediately necessary for me in reach. Like here's my die cutting machine. I have all my inks in this drawer, which is why I keep looking over here. I have all my inks over on this side. And I used my like CNC cutting machine to make little holders for my fresh dye inks. Um, but
Very cool.
this was just a prototype. I don't know if it's really working for me, but at least, it felt right. Because I
Yep.
see you have the rotating one for your fresh dye ink. See, look, we're
Yes.
talking about like looking in the background, just
Yes.
the organization. But it's true. It's like, oh, that's how you organize your fresh dye ink. So yeah.
Yeah, I love, and it soothes the child in you too, because while you're spinning it to get your, it's just it brings me back to childhood. I don't know if it's a merry-go-round or what it is, but I'm just happy when I'm spinning through and you see with the labels, you see the
Mhm.
rainbow spinning by. It's a happy like 60 seconds when I'm picking my inks off the little spinny thing. So
It is. It's like that sensory. It's a sensory experience for some reason. Like the spice
yes,
rack at home. It's why,
yes.
but it is. It's those little things.
So see, all of you out there, if you like spinning things, you're in the right place. And Roxanne, the code is GardenJC. That's the code to save money and come craft with all of us on May 4th, which we're very excited about. Um, okay, just making sure she got that. And I'm sure Keisha will pop that right back up in there. So when you get this kit, now there's so many beautiful things in these kits. How do you not feel overwhelmed by all the happiness that's in there to create? Because I know I'm like, I want to use this and this and this and this, and the list gets too long. How do you kind of narrow it down to create your project?
Yeah. Well, if you have all of you in the chat, if you have seen the kit, you'll see that like products are meant to coordinate together, and right, and then somehow, like Bridget was saying, that is they all work really beautiful in a scene together. Like I'm thinking of that. I'm just gonna show it because I have it here.
Yes,
It's
yes.
the I don't have the die set quite yet, but it's the enchanted castle window, right? And it's that let me show it on the back. It makes sort of this window scene, and then there's the leafy splendor layering stencil. And thinking of a way to like have it climb up right on the brick wall was just thoughts that immediately came to mind. But I know for me, it's really comforting to think of like scenes first, and how to make something that you've probably seen in real life, like vines climbing up a brick wall, for example, like leafy splendor and the castle window together. Um, so yeah, I just try to stick with what I know first, and then from there somehow it just goes into this strange little artistic tangent, I guess. Then I bring in the colors, then I bring in other products within the kit. But yeah, I mean that's just a creative process. I don't think there's any right or wrong way to do
Nope.
it. And that's why it takes me 8 hours to come up with a single video or a single card, as because that's just how it goes for me, and that's just how I work.
Now, do you percolate? We've talked with Carissa and Kelly about percolating. Do you percolate a lot before you actually start putting it into action, or do you start action earlier than the more percolating?
Oh no, oh no. I like if sometimes I'm like, should I put a camera in here to see like how long I sit here? And this is JC like right here at his desk, and I'll touch it and I'll look at it and then I'll look at the back. I'll look at my inks and I'll look at it again. And it's like that for every content. And I've tried. I've tried sketching. I've tried writing it down. I've tried writing the voiceover first
Yep.
before doing the video. And nothing really saves the time. And I've sort of accepted that at this point because for me, the end reward is the creative aspect of it and
Yep.
such. But yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of thinking beforehand for me. Um, and then finally, maybe after 2 hours and tons of daydreaming, in other places, right? Then I'll finally start filming or creating.
A few hundred tangents, and then you get back, and then
Yes.
you get back on the line. And I think that's great though, because I think for some folks out there, they just see this, like we talked about earlier, a compressed 6-minute video. They're like, oh my gosh, look, he's brilliant. He puts a card together in like 7, 8 minutes. Look at how quick he goes. And it's hours
Mhm.
behind the scenes. It's hours that creates that one project that you see. So I think that's comforting to other crafters that may be slower crafters as well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I unfortunately I do have to cut out a lot of the staring at my workstation because I am still thinking in most cases, and yeah, it's just not how I work. Like, Jennifer McGuire's videos, it's like tons of examples, and I'm like, how, how? And it's just magic. But like you get so much in that video span, and that's also my goal. Is like I want to give you a 6-minute video, but I also want to keep you very much engaged in what I'm doing. Um,
Yeah.
so that's why we do have to cut out a lot of that stuff, and that means that hopefully, I mean, unfortunately, that many of you might be misled at how long this truly takes us to make. So,
Especially with new crafters, I think too, they look at those videos and they're like, how come it takes me 3 days to make a card and it only took them like, maybe 20 minutes and they have this beautiful card. What am I missing? And no, it's you miss its days. And that's I think too, you explained it well because I think almost at every juncture. So you pick your floral, you ink your floral, die cut your floral, all that. Then you're like, okay, then you got to think again because you're like, what do I do for a sentiment? Then you got to think, do I do embellishment? So there's a lot of places where you stop, reassess, and move forward. So there
mhm.
there is a lot of thinking in the process.
Yeah, it is. It's all for content and it's all for like teaching too. Um, because yeah, I want to show you these good concepts, right? And I want you to get your value out of these classes. Or, if you're just watching, YouTube is free. So if you want to, watch that content too, I personally, I want to make it, as valuable for you and your time as you can. Because I mean, in the end, it's what got me hooked onto paper crafting, right? Is seeing all these great tutorials from many people who are still on the design team here at Altenew, to get me into this brand. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's important.
It is. Yeah, it's very, very important. And it's good to understand that's kind of how it goes. And I think this also, it's something great that's in the retreat is that you get the PDF, and you come to the live session, and there are also a lot of tips and tricks that come up along the way.
Yes.
So, because you guys can't plan for every step that you're going to do. So there may be, I know one tip I learned was from you with the organizing your blending tools. That was one thing. Now, silly, but it was a great thing. And my organizational blending brushes, life is good. So you pick up all these tips and tricks that you may not expect to pick up. But in the retreat, there's so much interchange between the instructors and the participants. A lot of great tips come out. And the participants have so many good tips as well that they offer up in the chat box, which is awesome.
Yes, yes. Speaking of ink blending tools, I've changed it again. See,
Uh oh.
yeah. I'll just show you because I think
Yeah.
I think
Everybody loves
the original
organizational
concept is still
tips.
there. The original concept is still there with labeling everything with, the inks, but, I've acquired a few more. So,
Yes.
um, this is another one I used my, like, the blade cutting I don't wanna say it out loud, but, the cutting machine. Yeah,
Yes.
um,
The
and,
machine.
I was able to organize them luckily, um, even further
That is
with the
very
supplemental
cool.
inks. So,
Very,
yeah.
very cool.
And it's so fun, when people have these in the background, it's like, "Oh, of course that's how you organize it." Like, why? Why? Why wouldn't you? Um, and I love the new packaging on these blending
Yes.
brushes too.
Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. Like, I don't even wanna open the boxes. Like, it's so pretty.
Right,
I'm like, "How can
same.
I use this box like, I feel like I should use it because it's so pretty, somehow, but I haven't come up with a good way yet. So, I'm
Yeah,
I'm percolating, percolating.
yes. Always, always. I don't know how else you do it. I don't. I don't know how else you do it without the percolating.
And and I think everybody wants to see how everybody's organization is. I think that's just something, we always wanna know.
Mhm.
Keisha had a good question. What is your advice for someone who wants to be a crafter but doesn't have the confidence to try?
You just have to do it. It's like it's such a the crafting, especially the card making realm, right? All of us at Altenew, like we're all different kinds of people. We're all different skill sets, um, and I know it's easy to be intimidated by what you see, right, on social media or some of the examples, um, but that's you have to like remove yourself and stop comparing because it sucks the joy out of the crafting aspect of it. um, so, join us for class. You'll see, it's different. We're all very encouraging. If you have your camera on, it's good to see you and see what you're making. Um, but yeah, I jump into it because then you never know what's going to happen. Like for me, like I would have never imagined any of this happening if it wasn't for social media, um, seeing everybody's creations, getting connected with people like Bridget, people on the Altenew team like Keisha. It's Yeah, you never know where it's going to take you, and it's nothing, nothing bad could come of it. So
And I have my sentiment is close to yours. Yours was do it scared. Mine is always do it afraid
yeah.
because something new is always you're scared, you're afraid, and just jump, just go, And I think this retreat would, like you said, would be a great way to try because you don't have to pick the products are chosen for you. You don't have to pick the extras are chosen for you, and then you just show up and you get wonderful guidance and you can find your style. And I think that's the great thing. And I think that's something too, our style is always evolving. And I think that's like one key to harmony as a crafter is once you find out what your style is, because that is a hard question to answer in the beginning, when you're starting and you try on all the different styles.
Mhm.
And it's nice when you can say, I think I'm a clean and simple card maker. I think that's where I live. I like that. I'm good with that. I think there's some security in knowing where you are happiest a little bit. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, and I know, like, with these classes, we are encouraging you to copy our work in a sense,
Yes.
because then you get your techniques down. And like I said way at the beginning of this, right? I want you to walk out of this class with something, whether you are a seasoned crafter or, very new to the scene. Um, so yeah, my goal for me is to always have you walk out with something, and whether it's the full retreat kit, which you can keep using and keep relearning from, yeah, they're just do it. Just join us. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's always fun to talk to Bridget. It's always fun.
Thank you. It's always fun to talk to JC. We always have a good laugh.
Yeah.
No, so, Keisha had asked another question. What is your favorite crafting thing on your desk right now?
Hmm. As I'm
I
looking
know
around,
these
I
are big
didn't clean. Like,
questions.
if you were to see the camera, I cleaned all in it, right? But outside, no, it's not clean. Um, the thing I always grab, I'll just pull it. It is
Okay.
because I it never goes far, but it's always somewhere in this general vicinity for me, is the permanent black crisp ink.
Yeah.
Outlines, alcohol markers, if I'm lazy and I don't wanna use the pigment ink, um, perfect for watercoloring, but great place to start. Very rarely when I draft, like for layout cards, like on Saturdays, Elements of Floral Composition Live, like great place to draft to this inked. Because if I decide I like the card, then I can keep going, right? I have already established a great canvas, but permanent black is number one for me. Oh, the stamp wheel right there, stamp
Oh,
wheel.
yeah.
Number two, um, let's see. Number three would be the Teflon. Look at me. I'm like, oh, right here, Teflon coated scissors. Good for cutting
Oh, yes.
foam adhesive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun to see. You're like a kid in a candy store, as the old saying goes. You're very excited about your supplies. So we can feel your excitement. It's very exciting to see it.
Well, I
Now,
use it all the time on a
where
near
are you
daily basis.
living with techniques? Where are you living right now? Are you ink blending, stencils, die cuts, stamps? What's hot on your technique list right now?
Yeah. As I was going through my stash, I was actually kind of thinking about this, when I was looking for like a layering stamp, is that Altenew has transitioned to these layering stencils. So that gives you much more opportunity to stamp and then blend, whereas everything had to be on one 6x8 stamp set. So you're only limited to, let's say, 4 images, right? 2 flowers, 2 sets of leaves. But now we've incorporated the stencil, which vastly expands the amount of images you can incorporate on the card.
Yeah.
Anyway, that means that I have really enjoyed ink blending a lot more, whether that is on stencils or my favorite lately have been the Craft of Flowers series with the keyhole design. It makes lining up so much easier. And the layering schematic is much more like real florals, right? They're meant to pop out of your card. Um, so it's fun to add really small details into these as if I have taken something from the garden, right, and placed it on my card. Um, so that's what I've been loving lately is ink blending on die cuts, ink blending on stencils, creating gradients and different mixes, again, of colors that I didn't think would unexpectedly work together. So yeah.
That's the most exciting thing when you're like, "I don't know," and then you
Mhm.
put it together and you're like, "Magic." It's magic, and it just that's one of the best feelings in card making, I think, is something when you're scratching your head like, "I don't know about this," and then at the end, you're, like, so happy.
Yeah, and it's color theory, right? It's supposed to work, but it's something gets all hung up here, and I'm just yeah, it's all color theory, and it's supposed to work.
And I think we're so scared of brown. I embrace it. I love the brown. I'm like, "Hey, I make brown, I make brown." Brown's a color too. We can't exclude brown. But I think as crafters, we're terrified of making brown. I mean, that's our biggest fear with color
And
theory and mixing.
it's true because, especially on this, I hate that this is sold out. I'm so sorry that I have to keep showing it because I'm afraid somebody's gonna look for this. But the center of the sunflower or the daisy type flower, right? You have to make brown, and there is no brown in this set. So then you do have to use color theory to figure out how to put these together to make your third layer or your next darkest color, to give your flower some sort of depth and some bloom.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I I know we don't want to make it, but there are ways you need to learn how to make it because then you can expand your Altenew floral sets, right? And your color value. Your color value is what I was trying to get to. Yeah.
Is there so what about the are you excited about the stencil that's in our background right there? Are you pretty excited to get your hands on that?
Oh,
Our
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
uh,
have the stencil right here, flower bed.
yes.
And flower bed, of course, works with cascading flowers. So
Yes.
yeah, that was the whole point. Is like ever since Altenew has expanded their set, right? It now you can get so much more um, from the 6x8 stamp set instead of just like single floral colors or single flower images. But even just on the example back here, that's similar to our little banner that's around us, right? Just
Yep.
stunning. There's so many opportunities to incorporate let me just bring it back. I'm just going to keep bringing it back. Colors like this, right? Just imagine superimposing these colors onto here, and the sort of bouquets you'll be able to get. And I think this, I see, obviously I haven't opened it yet, but I think this works on its own too, right? To make,
Yes.
oh yeah, it's on here. So stunning,
Makes
stunning.
a big panel,
Okay.
which is gorgeous. That's
Mm,
what made me think of bringing up this set after seeing your sunflower daisy layered. I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, I can imagine those colors on
mhm.
that flower bed stencil." I mean, gorgeous, just
Yeah,
gorgeous.
absolutely. And then of course, if you're an outline, if you like outlines, use your permanent black, then that option is there for you too.
And the stamp wheel.
But yes, of course. To me, that's given. It's like it doesn't leave this area. Well, if it's not where my laptop is right now,
Yeah.
then it's back here. But obviously, I use mine a lot. So
And it's beautifully colored. It's
yes.
loved. It's loved, which is awesome. Now, what's your other favorite in the kit that's not like a main item? I call them bridesmaids, like the cardstock. And what's your favorite out of the extras that are in the kit?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about the mini ink blending brushes, but I think the detailed blending brushes might possibly make an appearance in my lesson. Um, I think again we can use color theory to possibly use the detailed blending brushes, but that's a collection I've been wanting to build up with the smaller one. Sorry, let me just show it real quick. Um, Mine's not open. Let me open one. Show you an open one. Are the detailed blending brushes. So there are three sizes in this. There's a smaller one, a medium-sized one, and a larger one, which enables you to cover different areas. So
Yeah.
that's one of my favorite tools that I'm looking forward to, is using more of the detailed blending brushes to get really dynamic blooms. Um, the glitter cardstock set, I have a opened one behind me, but it is this one.
Good to have a backup though.
Yeah, I love this stuff. So
Yes.
yeah. It's a good way to incorporate, like, black without it feeling just, like, so sometimes it can be really stark on your
Yeah.
cards, but then you can, have it have a little fancy element, and it looks a lot more intentional, in my opinion, as I'm thinking about that. So, like, uh, black diamond down there. Really great one to incorporate into cards because it has that, like, rainbowish, right? It's, like, sort of that iridescent, but it's still black.
Yeah.
So, it's fun if you wanna, you have a full lineup of colors, but you want to incorporate something that still incorporates really well into your overall theme. So
And it doesn't detract from your focal. It
yes,
just kind of
yes.
adds. And like you said, it's not, for some reason, the glitter makes the black not stark. I don't know how that works with our eyes. Somebody would have to explain that to me, but it's totally true. It's not as stark as if we had just a plain jet black piece of cardstock.
I don't know if I can get it on my key
Right
light, but
there,
yeah,
we can
it's
see some
got like some
shine.
sort of rainbowish
Yeah.
reflection to it. So yeah, great kit. I don't know how we do it. Like, I've seen other retreat kits that I've not been a part of, but like the Secret Garden retreat kit last year,
Yeah.
this year's retreat kit is, I don't know how we managed to put all this stuff in here, but it's so fun.
I don't know. I admit it every time. I'm like, this is my favorite release, or this is my favorite retreat kit. And then they come out with another one, and I'm like, oh no, this is my favorite. It
Mhm.
each time it gets better and better each time with what's included and the designs, irregardless of how many stamp sets, die sets, stencils you get, but just the designs are just it's just amazing. Just
Mm.
amazing.
And there is some exclusivity for this kit, right? Like, it's not available, um, so
As of now, it is not
yeah,
available anywhere else.
yeah.
Anywhere else. So, yeah, the only place you can get these supplies is by joining us in the kit, in the
Mm.
class, so that you get the kit in May. So, make sure if you have something in here that you are just like, I need this in my life, make sure to sign up. And we have the code GardenJC so that you can save some money, because we love when you guys save money. We love to help you do that. So we have those codes. So again, it's Garden JC, and it's on the Altenew store, May
Yeah, it's
4th.
spelling right there. first name.
Yes. And that's how, yes, to spell it. So, yes, my talk to text always is lazy and does a J and a C. And I'm like,
Yeah,
no, no,
yeah.
no, no, no. So, gotta spell it out. Don't be lazy,
Yeah.
talk to text.
Yes.
And then it's May 4th. It's 12 hours, 6 amazing instructors, and lots of fun in between. Altenew likes to have little chat sessions, or, we had a meditation at the last one for mindfulness. So you never know the excitement that's going to come up and pop up in these. And we do have the Facebook group. So if we haven't let folks in yet, we will be doing that. Should be soon-ish. I'm not sure of the exact date that we're opening the Facebook group, but we will have the Facebook group where you can create cards and share them. Make sure in the Facebook group, if you tag an instructor with a question, make sure you tag them so their name is blue. That was a good point Carissa made yesterday. If you just typed, for example, Jaycee Gaspar and it was not blue, he's not going to see it. So if you had a question or wanted to show him about a project that you made that you wanted to share, because the instructors love to see what you guys make as well.
And you all have really, really valuable questions. Sometimes they're just perspectives that I would never thought about addressing in class. So yeah, please tag us. We never want to ignore you, so we want to make sure that your questions are answered for class.
And if you have questions, if when you sign up, you start thinking of questions or you get the PDFs and you start thinking of questions, please jot those down for the live session, because the only question that is silly is the one that is not asked. The old adage. We want to make sure that you get all the answers that we can give to you, from the instructors, from Altenew, whatever we can help with. We want to make sure you have the best experience at this event. Jaycee, thank you so much for joining us today. And again at the retreat. We're so excited you're back to craft with us.
It's always a good time. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody's making, and it's like I always say, it's so good to see everybody in their crafty space and interact with everybody. So yeah, I'm very excited. Make sure you grab your retreat kit, of course, just like Bridget said, and I look forward to seeing you all there on the Facebook group, on the live session again. So yeah, don't miss out, please. It's fun.
And keep your eyes out. I'm not going to let the cat totally out of the bag. I'll let out a whisker, but there's something coming up exciting. We will see Jaycee again before the event. So keep your eyes out to see what exactly that is. We have something exciting coming up with Jaycee and another of our instructors, but I'm not going to let that out of the bag either. I'm just letting the whisker out of the bag that Jaycee will be there. And it's before the retreat. So we get to have more time with Jaycee before the retreat and one of our other fabulous instructors. So keep your eye out for that. We'll make sure to put it up very, very ahead of time so you guys don't miss it. But we're very excited to have Jaycee back with us very, very soon again. So again, thank you, Jaycee, and thank you to Keisha for posting all the links and wonderful questions. And thank you to our amazing participants for coming and having a chat with us. We always love to have a chat and to see everyone with us. From all of us at Altenew, thank you for allowing us to help you craft your life. And we will see you all very, very soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.